this news-breaking killer, this wrecking ball of a man, Adrian Wojnarowski, joins us, and we have a bit of a running joke about tweeting from the set. And by the way, if you have stuff to tweet, tweet it. Don't ask permission.
Could I break it on the show?
You do whatever you want to do. You're Woj, and seriously, today you've been obviously owning this day, which is your time to shine, and it starts with this afternoon where it comes into focus that Durant is suddenly going to announce on his site, then no, you tweet he's headed to the Nets. How does this happen?
Well, the Brooklyn Nets owned this day. Sean Marks, Kenny Atkinson, that organization, what they have done in 3+ years, I mean, that organization was in disrepair. And to think that they could go out and get not only Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, they've got DeAndre Jordan coming in, but, you know, Kyrie Irving made a decision weeks ago, maybe even longer. He was going to the Brooklyn Nets. He wanted to come home to New York. He looked at the two organizations. He saw the future in Brooklyn. And I think for Kevin Durant, certainly it was a very difficult decision to go to New York, go to the Garden alone. You know, I think you look at LA, LeBron James had a tough time walking in there alone. Now he's got Anthony Davis, it's working out.
Sure.
But just remarkable, the turn of events and what that Brooklyn organization has done. And they have a chance to be one of the franchises in the NBA.
There's also the question about, his injury and how long that'll take, what he'll be when he returns. And, there's still some question marks, but there's no question this is a home run. And we've said this tongue-in-cheek, I'll just say it one time. This all happens before 6 o'clock. So, that's against rules and all, I mean, the conversations, how do we arrive in all these things happening? That's a conversation for another day. You got something?
No, go ahead.
Seriously, read what it just.
No, it was actually my wife.
Oh, yeah. You're not gonna. He'll talk to you the 4th or the 5th, 4th or the 5th-ish. Actually, at the pace we're on, it might be done by tomorrow.
I did have one GM say to me tonight. He thought the fact that it started at 6 p.m. instead of midnight impacted the action we saw. It's hard to do all this stuff at 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. The fact that we've had this run-up, I think, impacted the flurry of activity today.
Jimmy Butler sign and trade. You had that one as well. He goes to Miami. So what all was involved in making those pieces fit?
Philadelphia was not giving him that 5-year max he wanted. They weren't giving him a 4-year max. They were out of Jimmy Butler business. They went out, got Al Horford, and Jimmy Butler, had the chance. Miami, Houston. I was told he liked the idea of being more of a centerpiece player in Miami. Remember, the Heat came very close to trading for him in Minnesota. A couple of deals fell apart at the last minute. So Jimmy Butler goes there. And now Philadelphia bringing back Josh Richardson, signing Al Horford to a deal, $109 million, but $97 guaranteed. As good of a defensive team as maybe anywhere in the NBA right now.
And I wanted to ask you about Horford, because that was a significant one that you had as well. The mystery team, who was it? Because we all kind of felt like, man, if he was going to not take what Boston had, there had to be something out there. That's what out there was Philly. So you stay in that division as a rival as well. That has to thrill Elton Brand and the Sixers to get him coming back, even at a fairly steep price, I think.
Yes, and look what it does for the locker room. There's not a more mature, there's not a better leader, there's not more of a grown-up in the NBA than Al Horford. 12 years in the league, 12 playoff appearances, 5-time All-Star. And they lose J.J. Redick to New Orleans, and that's not insignificant.
No, who shoots for them is a question.
Right, but bringing Horford into that locker room, I think he's going to be tremendous on and off the court for Joel Embiid, because if Embiid's going to miss time at any point, Horford can go over and play the center. He can play the 4 when they're on the court together.
And I know, because we were talking off air, that there are still significant things that are percolating. There always are.
Always are.
And I would just say keep your phone nearby. I know he will, and when there's the next one, you'll know. Woj, thank you so much.
Thanks, Scott.
Murderous machine.
I'm going to text my wife back.
Please do.
Okay.
All right, there you go. There are more things to talk about. This is not a free agent move, but this is significant. Dame Lillard, an extension. It sounds like this: 4 years, $196. The Athletic first reported this, and given the gigantic shots that have been hit, what he represents to that team, I think we all understand why Dame Lillard gets that reward. All right, Kristaps Porzingis traded, of course, from New York to Dallas. He's agreed to extend his stay in Dallas, 5-year, $158 max contract. So team up with Doncic down there in Dallas. ride together for the next 5 at a very healthy 158. All-star Chris Middleton declined a $13 million player option. Instead agrees to a 5-year, $178 million deal to remain with Milwaukee. Second-round pick averaged 18, 6, and 4 for the Bucks, who won a league-best 60 last year. I know it's not the sexiest team. He's not the sexiest player, but he's being paid like one. And Tobias gets 158 for 5 years as he is staying in Philadelphia. Of course, he came over in the trade from the Clippers. And all told, on Sunday, there were 7 players who signed the largest contracts in the history of their team. 4 of them are with the team they played for last year. 3 of them, Durant, Kemba, and Butler, will be joining a new squad. Those players alone combined to sign for a total of $1.158 billion. Again, Kemba will be joining the show a little bit later on. Bobby Marks, are you prepared for this?
I'm ready to go.
You're just scrambling like a maniac. You got books out. You're ready for what we're doing here?
I got my black book,
all right.
my numbers. We don't even need that. We can go right with it.
Right, you can hang on to it if it's necessary. All right, and you can do your jokes. Right, we look alike. Right, we've got a segment about that. The Nets numbers. You were the one that came in and explained to me. Like people are pointing out, hey, the Knicks didn't offer KD the max. Well, the Nets aren't giving him the max either, so that they can make the Jordan thing work. Explain what we're talking about here.
Right. When DeAndre Jordan came in at 4 years, $40 million, everyone's wondering, how are you going to fit DeAndre Jordan into this roster here? And this is what both players were able to do. When we start with Kyrie, $28.5 million is his number. This is where Kemba is, 32.7. So there's about a $3.5 million difference there. What they can do is put some unlikely bonuses in there, reaching the second round, 45 wins, to have him recoup that money there. So when we put Kyrie in, that gets you down to $41 million. Okay? Let's look at Durant here. Similar situation. KD's number is $38.2 million.
He's a small forward, Steve.
He is.
Small forward. We had a segment on radio once. I screwed up with a small forward. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
KD's number is $38.2 million. We're going to bump it down to $32 million. We're going to put some bonuses in there also. It's the same as Kyrie. But even though Kevin will likely be out,
you will still get the bonuses that the team does.
Team bonuses. So when we put that number in there, $10 million.
Voila.
And here is DeAndre Jordan.
A bargain at $10 million.
$10 million per year. They also agreed to a deal with Garrett Temple for the $4.8 million room exception. You can exceed the cap to do that, and you get to keep all your young players. Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, Taurean Prince, Karis LeVert, and you don't even have to make a trade to clear out space.
So I know you and Woj are both in great respect for how the Nets have made all things work to lure these 2 stars. And what's interesting is that everyone's killing the Knicks, and I'm going to as well in the one big thing. But while we're sitting here right now, the Clippers, right, they created all this space, and to date they've done nothing, and it seems that they're obviously all in for Kawhi. If they don't get him, then you're going to run out of people to spend your money on. So where are they right now?
Well, you're right. I mean, look at where they are. If we go to the Clippers, and right here, they're at $43 million, and this is including this Patrick Beverley hold, and he might not be there. Like, he could be off the market by tonight.
And you're going to run out of people you can deal Gallinari to as well, I would assume.
You have the Gallinari expiring contract. I mean, of course, hey, the best case scenario is Kawhi.
Sure,
right?
Obviously.
So let's say what happens if Kawhi is not here. Look at all the players that are off. Chris Middleton's off. Tobias Harris is off. Bogdanovic, Harrison Barnes.
Gone.
Kelly Oubre is still there. I mean, this market, Scott, is shrinking here. All the big names here. Every player here except Danny Green, who's holding out for something, possibility here. But, I mean, if we go through, we can go through every position here. I mean, look at where all the numbers are.
Technically, we can't because we're only on for an hour, but I understand what you're saying in theory.
But yeah, they could be left with $52 million and, taking 1-year contracts here.
Well, I mean, this is the risk you pay. You sit on powder for this day, and then all of a sudden you're running out of guys to use it on. That's what's really interesting from the Knicks' perspective, the Clippers' perspective. Look, the Lakers are in the same boat too. If they're waiting on Kawhi. Obviously, Davis comes, but some teams I think we're all wondering where are we here at the moment. Appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
We're going to do Utah as well. We're going to look at Philly, what they look like. But now we're going to tell you what Vegas thinks. All right, the best odds to win the title. This is after today? All right, Caesars really likes the Lakers. But again, part of that is that you just want to limit your exposure to Laker money out there because you're going to take the most of it. Bucks still considered the favorites out of the East at 4-1. Then they still like the Clippers because you got to hedge your bets, because if they get Kawhi, as we saw with Toronto last year, he is a single-man odds changer. That's what Caesars thinks right now.
When you think of the Celtics, you think of championships.
Sure.
You think of winning. And that's what I'm about.
Ahead, Kemba Walker joins the show to talk about becoming the next Boston Celtic. Find out why heading to Boston he believes is the best fit.